We've got breaking news out of college basketball where Indiana is hiring West Virginia's Darian DeVries as its next head coach. That's been confirmed by our Matt Norlander. DeVries spent the past season in Morgantown going 19-13 while controversially missing the NCAA tournament. Prior to that, he spent 6 years at Drake, leading the Bulldogs to 3 appearances in the Big Dance. He'll take over for Mike Woodson, who stepped down at the end of this season after 4 years in Bloomington and just won two NCAA tournament appearances. And with that, we welcome in senior college basketball writer for CBS Sports, Matt Norlander. Matt, you're the guy that broke the news. A lot of people thought maybe there was some movement here, but it came from you, so we're excited that we could have you on the show. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, this actually has been a pretty ridiculous day in West Virginia and Indiana. And actually, if you go back to Selection Sunday, the running presumption that was that Indiana would probably squeak into the field. West Virginia was safely in the field. Instead, both of those programs were in the first 4 teams out. And in that process, the next Indiana coach search really took a direction that was not anticipated. If Indiana, or particularly if West Virginia was in the NCAA tournament right now, we would not be talking about this because Darian DeVries would be preparing for his first opponent in the Big Dance. That's not the case. I was told that Indiana met with DeVries on Monday night, and although there were a few candidates that were under consideration, he eventually won out against and over those candidates and accepted the offer with Indiana as we speak here within the past hour, maybe just over an hour ago. DeVries did a great job at Drake. He was a longtime assistant at Creighton. He pushed off overtures from Iowa earlier this cycle. He was the top target for the Iowa Hawkeyes, but the Indiana job is bigger than the Iowa job. The Indiana job comes with much more NIL. I'm told by sources that Indiana plans to have easily north of $7 million in NIL funding and expected revenue sharing that should hit college sports later this year. So when you put all of that together, Indiana presents an interesting package. DeVries was not Indiana's first choice, nor its second choice, nor its third choice, nor its fourth choice, but that's not necessarily to say that DeVries won't be a really, really good coach and be there for a long time. Mark Pope wasn't the first choice at Kentucky, and look what he's done in year 1. Pat Kelsey wasn't the first coach at Louisville. Look what he's done in year 1. And you can go on down the list. Oftentimes the schools that don't land the top name can still wind up with a guy who can be very, very successful. Oftentimes the names at the top of these lists, even for blue blood level kind of schools, aren't actually realistic. It zeroed in on DeVries, and I'm told that the development with the job offer came together extremely quickly on Tuesday afternoon, leading to DeVries to ultimately decide to leave West Virginia after just 1 season and head to the Big Ten and go to Bloomington.
All right, well, look, sometimes you don't get what you want, but you get what you need, which hopefully is what they found here. What's next for Indiana?
Well, Indiana is going to try and get, DeVries will probably bring back plenty of its staff. DeVries will bring his staff with him to Bloomington. Tucker DeVries was one of the best players in the country last season. He got hurt earlier this season. Obviously, he would be expected to go along with his father and play at Indiana. And now the portal will open officially in college basketball on Monday after the conclusion of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Once we have a Sweet 16 field set on Monday, the portal officially opens. This now gives Indiana an advantage here in having its head coach in place, almost a full week before the portal opens, so that DeVries can both manage the roster and the players that could potentially return for Indiana, in addition to obviously building up there. For West Virginia, on the back half of the question, Katie, now it goes into job search mode. And unfortunately for West Virginia, it has gone from Bob Huggins, who was dismissed just a couple of years ago. Josh Eiler replaced him on an interim basis. Then he was replaced by DeVries, and now they'll have another coach. So they'll basically have 4 coaches in what amounts to generally about 3 years' time. Some early names to consider and what could be an interesting search overall. Jared Calhoun is the coach at Utah State. He's in the NCAA tournament right now. He has deep ties to West Virginia and Bob Huggins. I figure he'll get a look. Ben McCollum, who is being looked at right now by Iowa as well. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if he got a serious look there at West Virginia. You go on down the line, there's any number of coaches that could factor in. Their athletic director, Ren Baker, has had kind of a whirlwind week. I mean, West Virginia thought it was going to be in the tournament, and then it got to a situation where the governor is holding press conferences and talking about West Virginia not getting in the field and all of the corruption with the NCAA. That's a whole matter altogether, but it's been very noisy there. Now West Virginia finds itself needing to search for some sort of replacement coach. Maybe Ross Hodge at North Texas. He actually has a relationship with Ren Baker from his time. Ren's at North Texas. So that list will fill up quickly. And no doubt with West Virginia not being in the NCAA tournament, West Virginia will look to fill its now coaching vacancy as quickly as possible. We're sitting here on a Tuesday, Katie. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if tournament results merit this, if West Virginia could fill its coaching vacancy in less than a week's time.